Hello there, welcome to an INFj ramble. So, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I am going to talk on a topic, um, and I'm going to call it three strikes. What does that mean? Well, basically, I give you three strikes and you're out. And it helps me to create healthy boundaries and to show people what I will tolerate or not tolerate in regards to how they treat me. Um, so it's basically setting up a boundary or a guideline that you can follow in order to, maintain a boundary and also to like show people what you will allow and what you will not allow, in order to like proceed in a connection or a relationship. Um, I think I have to alter this though. So basically, if somebody's doing something that is not in alignment with my best interests or what I consider healthy, I'll give them three strikes. Um, I think I might have to modify that just because I think a lot of times people aren't aware that they're encroaching on a like standard that we've created in our head, and we probably need to work on communicating. So, on top of giving them three strikes, you need to become a more assertive communicator, and just tell people straight up, like, you don't have to be like angry about it. I know we don't like conflict, but don't you think by not like, how do I say, having the conversation with someone, not communicating effectively, you're just kind of like creating conflict within yourself? So to alleviate that, not only I feel like should you give three chances, but you should also communicate effectively. So if somebody has encroached on a standard or a boundary, you need to be adamant about expressing that, because nobody can read your mind. Not everybody is wired the way we are. We are super sensitive and we can pick up on subtle things, but you got to think 80 to 90% of the population is not wired that way, and they just don't know unless you tell them. And yeah, we don't like conflict, but by avoiding conflict, by avoiding communicating, we are creating more conflict and we are creating more rifts, in relationships and interactions. Whereas if you were just, forthright and just told someone very, graciously, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that, or I was wondering like why you didn't return my text, or something so simple, you can alleviate so much unnecessary passive aggressive conflict. You know what I mean? So it's funny, we don't like conflict, but we create conflict by not communicating effectively. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there was a couple of instances within the past few months that I came across. One, I didn't communicate effectively, and that relationship just kind of fizzled out. But it could have been salvaged if I probably had communicated effectively. So we can't like blame it on everyone else. I mean, we have an issue too. We just don't know how to communicate. And then we use the excuse that we don't like conflict, but in turn, by not communicating, we're creating conflict. It's just a subtle kind of conflict that deteriorates, that makes things around us deteriorate. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, if somebody is doing something that's not jiving with you or doing something you don't quite understand, it's as simple as approaching them and asking them, like, hey, I don't understand why you want to do it this way, but I want to, and then they can explain, and then you guys can have a very mature and open conversation. And if the person isn't willing to communicate with you in a way, then that's when you know that you have to cut your losses because you tried. You know what I mean? And like I said, you can try one time, two time, three time, and after communicating effectively and getting nowhere, then that's when you start the elimination process. That's when I think it's applicable to shut the door or walk away. But without having like or giving the other person the opportunity to resolve things within between you, it's not fair, because you're not giving them a chance to like make themselves known. So whenever there's misunderstanding or if somebody is encroaching upon your standards, it's as simple as asking them or telling them, like, I don't appreciate you talking to me this way, or how can we handle this more effectively, or I want to understand you so that we can work together towards a common goal, instead of just being silent and resentful and then closing the door and backing out. Just communicate more. And then, like I said, the three chances rule applies from then on. It's like, okay, you've communicated yourself effectively, you've been assertive, you've got to nowhere 1, 2, 3 times, done. You know what I mean? And that way you can give people the benefit of the doubt and to redeem themselves, but and you can resolve conflict within yourself and probably with them. You know what I mean? And everyone wins all the way around. So it's about communicating effectively, giving three chances, and then, coming to a decision of elimination. So, yeah, three chances and communicate effectively. And I'm learning that. Um, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but at my current workplace, there's some disconnection going on. Some people are having an issue with another person, but then they're not communicating their issues to this person in a way that this person can understand. And so they're not really aware of what they're doing wrong, and they're not given the opportunity to fix it because these people are just wanting to eliminate this person's position from her position, and it's not fair. So I've talked to these people, I've talked to this person, and there's an obvious disconnect. And, this person's telling me, like, they weren't even aware that these people felt this way. And if I hadn't said anything, they just wouldn't have a clue and they don't know what they're doing wrong. And so it's about, working on fine tuning communication skills and in a way that's not attacking. It's as simple as, I don't understand, um, but I want to understand so that we can work together effectively towards a common goal, you know? But if you don't say anything, the silence, like stress, it's a silent killer. So when you're silent, there's a time for silence. And there's a time when you need to speak up. And I'm learning that. And I'm sure you're learning that too. But anyhow, it's all about breaking through barriers and bringing light to our blind spots so that we can work on them, right? So that we can become more in tune and more in harmony with everything and everyone around us. Anyhow, blessings to one and all. Thank you for watching. Amen.